You think a car dealership makes its money selling you the car. You spend an afternoon in a little glass cubicle, haggling over the sticker price, certain that every dollar you knock off is a dollar straight out of their pocket. Here's the part nobody points out while you're sweating it. On the new car itself, the dealership often makes almost nothing. The margin on a new vehicle is razor thin. By design, the real money isn't the car at all. It's the loan you sign in the next room, the warranty bolted on top of it, and the years you'll spend coming back to the service bay. You won the haggle. They were never really fighting you there. Here's how it looks from the outside. A dealership is a lot full of expensive machines, gleaming under those tall lights. The cars are the most visible, most valuable thing in the building. $60,000, $80,000 a unit, rows of them. So the obvious story writes itself. They buy cars from the manufacturer, mark them up, sell them to you, and pocket the spread. The whole ritual, the sticker price, the test drive, the let me go talk to my manager, is theater built around one single number, the price of the car. It really feels like that number is the business. And the revenue backs it up, at first glance. Take AutoNation, one of the largest dealership groups in America. In fiscal 2024, new vehicle sales were 49% of its total revenue. Basically, half the money flowing through the entire company came from selling new cars. Across the whole industry, it's even bigger. America's franchise dealers sold more than 16 million vehicles in a year, and total dealership sales topped $1.3 trillion. New cars are over half of every sales dollar in the channel. So a casual observer concludes the obvious thing: huge car revenue, that's where the profit must be. But revenue is not profit, and this is exactly where the picture cracks. Go back to AutoNation, and instead of looking at how much money the cars brought in, look at how much profit they left behind. New vehicles were 49% of revenue, but only 16% of gross profit. Half the money in, a sixth of the profit out. Look at the margin and you see why. AutoNation's gross margin on a new vehicle in 2024 was about 5.9%. 5.9. A normal retailer would call that a rounding error. The single most expensive thing in the building is one of the least profitable things they sell. If selling new cars were really the business, a dealership would be one of the worst businesses in America. It isn't. So the money has to be coming from somewhere else. So where does the money really come from? Two places, and neither one is the car on the showroom floor. The first is a small office you visit only after you've already agreed to buy. The F&I office. F&I stands for finance and insurance. It's the desk you sit at to do the paperwork. This is where they arrange your loan, and where they offer the add-ons, the extended warranty, the gap insurance, the paint and fabric protection, the prepaid service plan. And the profit packed into that little room is staggering compared to the car itself. At AutoNation in 2024, finance and insurance was only 5% of revenue, but 28% of total gross profit. Read those two numbers next to each other. 5% of the money in, more than a quarter of the profit out. Per car, it's even clearer. AutoNation made about $3,045 of gross profit on each new vehicle it retailed in 2024. On that same car, it made about $2,612 in finance and insurance gross profit. So the paperwork you sign in the back office is worth nearly as much to the dealer as the entire car out front. And here's the difference that matters. The finance and insurance dollars are almost pure profit. There's no engine to buy, no steel to ship, no inventory sitting on the lot tying up cash. It's a contract. They might make a thin sliver on a car that, on average, sold for about $48,200 in 2025, then make almost as much again, at near total margin, on the loan and the warranty you sign 10 minutes later. And notice how the products in that room are designed. The extended warranty, the gap coverage, the protection plans, they aren't priced against the car. They're priced against your monthly payment, which is why the question is never how much, it's just a few more dollars a month. Spread an $1,800 warranty across a 6-year loan, and it nearly disappears into the payment, while the dealer books a large share of it as profit on the spot. The car is sold by total price. The profitable stuff is sold by the payment. And don't assume the used car beside it is any richer. AutoNation's gross margin on a used vehicle in 2024 was also about 5.9%, exactly as thin as the new car. Even though used cars were nearly 32% of every sales dollar across America's franchise dealers in 2025. Thin margin works the dealer's way there too, because a used sale runs the same finance office and feeds the same service bay later. A big piece of finance and insurance is the financing itself. Almost everyone borrows. The average amount financed on a new vehicle was around $43,000 in late 2025. When the dealer arranges that loan, it often works with a lender, and it can add a markup on top of the lender's rate. The industry calls this dealer reserve, where the dealer's compensation is the gap between the bank's buy rate and the rate written into your contract, commonly around 1 to 2.5 percentage points. The point isn't anyone's conduct. This is disclosed, legal compensation paid from the lender to the dealer that financial regulators, including the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, have examined over the years. The point is structural. The interest rate on your monthly payment can itself be a profit line for the dealership. You walked in to buy a car. You walked out as a borrower. And the loan can be worth more to them than the metal. The second place the money lives, and the steadier one, is the part of the dealership almost no buyer thinks about while they're negotiating. The service department, the garage out back. The industry has a name for service and parts that gives the whole game away. They call it fixed operations. It's fixed because that department's steady, high margin profit is meant to cover the dealership's fixed costs, the rent, the lights, the salaries, regardless of how many cars get sold out front. The cars come and go with the economy. The service bay just keeps humming. And the margins back there are nothing like the showroom. While AutoNation's new vehicle gross margin in 2024 was that thin 5.9%, its gross margin in parts and service was about 48%. 8 times the margin of the car itself. Put it in profit terms. Parts and service was only about 17% of AutoNation's revenue, but 46% of its total gross profit. Nearly half the company's profit comes from oil changes, brake jobs, tires, and warranty repairs. From the least glamorous corner of the building. And that profit isn't just fat, it's stable, which is the whole reason it's called fixed. When the car market turned in 2024, AutoNation's total gross profit fell about 7%, dragged down by a 27% collapse in new vehicle gross profit as margins normalized after the shortage years. Yet parts and service gross profit actually rose about 3% in the same stretch. When the showroom has a bad year, the service bay barely notices, because a car already on the road still needs brakes and oil, whether or not anyone is buying new ones. The front end is volatile. The back end is the ballast. Now stack the two together, the back office and the back garage, and the real shape of the business appears. At AutoNation in 2024, finance and insurance plus parts and service made up just 22% of revenue, but about 74% of total gross profit. Let that land. Less than a quarter of the money produced nearly 3/4 of the profit, and the half of revenue that came from selling actual new cars. It produced a sixth. The car is the headline. The loan and the wrench are the business. And this is not one company's quirk, it's how the whole sector is built. At Group 1 Automotive, another of the giant dealer groups, parts and service gross profit reached about $1.4 billion in 2024, up almost 13% in a single year, growing while new car margins were shrinking. At Penske, the service and parts department was again the steadiest performer, with gross margin still climbing even as the rest of the market cooled. Across the whole U.S. dealer channel, service and parts is a giant in its own right. More than 276 million repair orders written in a year, and over $164 billion in service and parts sales. That's a $164 billion service industry hiding behind the showrooms. Now the whole thing snaps into focus. The car is the bait, it's a commodity. The same model is sold by the dealer across town and the dealer one exit up the highway, so the price gets shopped to the bone and the front, and margin gets competed away to almost nothing. And that's fine because the new car's real job was never to make money. Its job is to put you into a relationship. The moment you buy, you become two far more valuable things: a borrower in the finance office today, and a service customer in that 48% margin bay for years. The loan pays them now. The oil changes, the brake pads, the timing belts, the warranty work, those pay them again and again, long after you've forgotten the sticker price you fought so hard over. And that completely reframes the haggle. All that energy you spent grinding down the price of the car, the salesperson can afford to give ground there. Precisely because that number was never where the dealership makes its living. Lose a little on the car, make it back, and more on the financing and the years of service. Think about what that means for the negotiation. The one number you're trained to fight over, the one you feel victorious about beating down, is the number that matters least to them. They will happily hand you a great deal on the car if it means getting you into the finance office and onto the service schedule. The real margin was never on the table you were arguing across. It was in the office down the hall and in the garage out back, on a timeline that runs years past the day you drive off the lot. There's even a reason the front-end margin is so thin in the first place, and it isn't generosity. The manufacturer sets the model, the features, and the rough price, and your local dealer is one of dozens selling the identical car. You can get a quote by email in 30 seconds and play one dealer against another. Competition crushes the price of the thing everyone can compare. But you can't comparison shop the loan markup or the warranty as easily, and you certainly can't comparison shop the brake job you'll need in 3 years. That one, you'll mostly bring back to them. So the parts of the deal that are hard to compare are exactly the parts where the margin lives. The transparent number is cheap. The opaque ones are where the profit hides. Completely in the open, right there in the annual report, just never on the sticker. So here's what a car dealership really is. Not a place that sells cars, but a place that uses cars to acquire borrowers and service customers. Where the vehicle is a near, break-even front end, and the money lives in the financing and the years of maintenance bolted onto it. The numbers say it plainly. Half the revenue, a sixth of the profit on the cars. A fifth of the revenue, 3/4 of the profit on the loan and the wrench. This is the cross-subsidy pattern, and once you see it you can't unsee it. One product run cheap, even at almost no margin, to open the door to the profitable ones attached to it. The cheap front end paying for the expensive relationship behind it. You'll spot it everywhere now. The printer sold near cost so they can sell you ink for years. The phone sold to lock you into a plan. The console sold at a loss to sell you the games. The thing they make a show of pricing is rarely the thing they're really selling. Next time, we take that same idea to the biggest stage there is, where the ticket price you fume about mostly isn't even theirs to keep, and the business is the fee stamped on top, and the quiet grip on the resale market underneath. That's Ticketmaster, and the money is not in the ticket.